liftoff. Americans return to space as Discovery clears the tower.
All right, welcome back, TTMTrades, man. Today we're gonna be going over my top plays for the week. It's a lot of them we was going over in the Discord. I'm not gonna touch bases on every last one of them. We'll be here all day long. But again, if you're looking for a Discord or to reach out to me or to look at some of our trades, the link is down below, and it is currently on your screen. 83 members and growing. All right, so just a couple plays that we called out. I'm not going over every single one of them. Took an MCO. Took a TMO, Thermo Fisher, INCY, ROKU, Triple M, and Facebook, just to name a few. Some of the plays we watching this week, along with the Tesla, the Space, SPCE, ROKU, BYND, etc., etc., etc. All right, so I'm only going to touch bases on a couple of them. All right, if you want to hear about the rest of them, join the Discord down below. Go through the chat server and find some plays that fit your trading style. All right, so here we go. First and foremost, took an SPCE Virgin Galactic Holdings. Okay, this stock has been taking off. As you can see here, non-stop from December, it's went from $7.20 all the way up to $28.68. So this one has been on a tear. News came out about one of their spaceships landing in New Mexico, and it landed safely without being tore up. And Virgin Galactic is building 2 other spaceships, and sooner or later they'll be getting into space tourism, which is the ultimate plan for them, and it's looking like they're making great progress. So the stock has been taking off like crazy. All right, now with that being said, looking at the daily, you see it's creating an all-time high, so we really don't have no resistance to reference. So is it going to continue to run this week? I think so. Okay, I think it's going to do a Tesla and it's going to continue to run. Reason being, the FOMO from last week, a lot of people piling on. I think there's going to be another run of FOMO this week with a lot of people piling on, and they're going to continue to push this up. But it is in a very strong uptrend, as you can see here on the daily. It's holding between its top 2 Bollinger Bands. Anytime a stock is in a strong uptrend, it will hold above its 2 top Bollinger Bands. So as you can see here, finally broke out above that 1 standard, and it's been using it as support. 1, ran out, 2, 3, 4, and then another breakout again. Okay, so is this going to continue? Yes, I do think it's going to continue, because everybody that missed out, they're going to pile onto it this week. So we got to zoom in intraday to see what's going on. Daily looks very bullish. As you can see here on the 2-hour chart, had that consolidation period right here between $16 to $20 right here. You can see the bands was constricting, hence the Bollinger Band with volatility being low and below its averages again. Finally, as the averages converge, you knew a breakout was about to happen. You get the breakout to the upside, and now Virgin Galactic is pushing. Okay, so it looks pretty solid on the 2-hour chart. PMO way above the 0 line. The stock is continuously ticking up on the 2-hour chart. Looks good on the 30-minute chart. PMO still ticking up, using that middle Bollinger Band as support. And on the 5-minute chart, that consolidation period finally breaking out, and it's not falling below its 150 SMA on the 5-minute chart, which is the 30 minutes chart middle Bollinger Band. As you can see here, 150 SMA, 25.46. 30-minute chart middle Bollinger Band, 25.18. All right, so if the price action for some odd reason pushes back toward the 150 SMA on the 5-minute chart and breaks below it, then I would be concerned. But that's back down in the ranges of $25, which I highly doubt is going to happen anytime soon. Now, how would I play this as far as options? I would probably I'm not a scalp trader, but I would take a nice entry with a smart position size of my account. Enter it, let it run up to 30. I'm pretty sure they're going to push this up to 30, see if it breaks 30. If it breaks 30, then you're looking at mid 30s, and just kind of ride it up. If you start seeing a trend fade, then get out. But I mean, this one is pretty much a FOMO play, and there's really no other way to put that. All right, so is it a risky play? Yes, but that is on watch just for some quick gains this week as far as options. All right, next, talking about ticker BYND. Talked about ticker BYND many a times. As you can see here on the weekly chart, it is struggling with that middle Bollinger Band. It cannot break above it. Okay, rejected. Last week tried to make another push, rejected. Okay, so with that being said, we zoom into the daily. That 150 SMA represents the weekly middle Bollinger Band, and it has been struggling nonstop. Now, one thing to pay attention to is anytime a stock is still in a strong uptrend, or that uptrend is still intact, is if the price action is above its middle Bollinger Band. Is it above the middle Bollinger Band? Yes. Is the RSI still above 50? Yes. So the trend is still intact, and ticker beyond is not going into a downtrend anytime soon. Now, if you look here on the daily chart, you can see the price action is consolidating. It was consolidating here, low volatility, hence the Bollinger Band width way below its average. You got the high volatility breakout here. As you can see here, that uptrend has slowed down and is now consolidating sideways, hence the Bollinger Band width pulling back down below its average to show that consolidation. But the key here is it's holding above that middle Bollinger Band. So ticker beyond is probably going to break back out to the upside, so I would keep a watch on it. As you can see here, it's supporting on the middle Bollinger Band, but getting rejected by the 150 SMA. So you have this kind of squeeze going on right here to where it's sooner or later going to have to break below 109 and head down to 94, or it's going to have to break above 123. Now, if we zoom in on the 2-hour chart, we can see here that the 2-hour chart is, as you can see here, was holding above that. The PMO was holding above its averages the entire time to show that the momentum was shifting to the bulls. Finally got the breakout. The momentum shifted back down. Got a pullback. That's not a strong downtrend. That's a simple pullback on the price action with some immediate buying in it, running back up, and now it's consolidating within its bands. Okay, so as you can see here on the 2-hour chart, same thing is consolidating between 112 and 116. So if I was to play ticker BYND, I would look for an entry right around 112 as far as call options. Let the price action continue to consolidate, and then on the 2-hour chart, you can see the PMO is flattening out, attempting to cross back above its averages, as you can see here, along with the Shande trend meter trying to cross back above its averages. So the bulls are coming in, and they are secretly accumulating ticker BYND, and they're setting up for the next breakout. Okay, even here on the 30-minute chart, broke back above its 150 SMA. We want to see it hold above that 114 and continue to consolidate on ticker BYND. But ticker BYND looks good for the week for calls. Current support sitting at 112.50. Current resistance sitting at 119, which is what it struggled with last week, 119. All right, so 112 support, 119 resistance. Ticker BYND on watch. All right, next let's talk about Facebook. All right, Facebook, as you can see here on the weekly, it started trending up and into a nice little uptrend starting back in October from 173 up to 224. Just recently had a pullback, but held above its middle Bollinger Band on the weekly and crossed back above its one standard deviation, sitting at 208, and is holding right above it. Okay, again, a stock goes in a strong uptrend when it stays between its top two upper Bollinger Bands. Hence, right here, strong uptrend. Top two upper Bollinger Bands, uptrend ended. Hence here again, strong uptrend. Top two Bollinger Bands, pullback. Trend is still intact because it's holding above the middle Bollinger Band again, and another strong uptrend. So this is what we're seeing here on Facebook. Even though it had that pullback, it's pulling back above its top two Bollinger Bands and it's setting up for a run. We zoom into the daily, as you can see here, that pullback in a more detailed fine line. Instead of it breaking out of the bands and starting a downtrend, it immediately, once it fell below that one standard deviation, some buying came into play and immediately pulled it back within the top one standard deviation Bollinger Band and the bottom. So you got like a consolidation pattern here. As you can see, 209 is support with last week's resistance sitting right at 215. So current resistance 215 and 220. In order for Facebook to start an uptrend, it has to break above 220 and get back inside those upper Bollinger Bands and start its push, as you can see here on that last push and then on that last push here. All right, big thing with Facebook, we know it's at a key level of support sitting at 209, and that 215 to 220 is resistance. Now the PMO is still in positive territory and way above its way above the zero line and currently above its 75 period moving average. So the overall trend is still intact. We just needed to break back above that middle Bollinger Band. Bollinger Band width is constricting, falling below its averages, showing that the price is consolidating and that a breakout is soon to occur on Facebook. Now, if we zoom in on the 2-hour chart, as you can see here, that downtrend played out right here. As it began to fall, the PMO started fading away, showing that the momentum was waning, giving you fair warning to get out of said stock. Finally had to break down, and then automatically the PMO began flattening out, heading back above its averages, and now the PMO is trending back up to break above that zero line and its 75 SMA. So with that being said, on the 2-hour chart, you can see the consolidation happening here, hence below its averages. It started converging, showing you that a breakout was going to happen. All right, now Bollinger Band width doesn't tell you Which direction the breakout is going to happen is simply telling you, hey, we're at a low volatility point. High volatility is soon to follow. Hey, we're at a high volatility point. Low volatility is soon to follow. Volatility is cyclical, okay? It moves in cycles. So again, very low volatility, price action constricting, PMO trending down, giving you fair warning that the breakout is going to be to the downside. Hence the breakdown to the downside of 201. Again, cyclical, low volatility, high volatility. We are back at low volatility. Price action constricting, PMO beginning to trend back up. If we know high volatility is around the corner, which direction is Facebook possibly going to break out? I'm going to say to the upside because the PMO is showing you that the trend strength is picking up. RSI is crossing above its average, and then the Shande, which struggled to hold above its average, as you can see here, as it broke below, rejected, broke above, it didn't hold, rejected, has finally broke above its averages. So Facebook is starting to trend back up. Intraday on the 2-hour chart, which tells me this week we're going to attempt that 215, as you see we did last week. We're going to attempt the 215, and then we're going to push up into that 220 range to try to break that to get an uptrend started. Okay, but a good opportunity to play some calls and get about a 6-point spread on your options. All right, moving on. Gold. I don't think a lot of people is paying attention to gold. As you can see here, man, on gold had a nice run up back in April 19, ran up from 119 to 146, pulled back, and then October to November had another run up, and now it's consolidating here on the weekly chart above its two top Bollinger Bands. So gold is still in the uptrend, even though it is currently consolidating on the daily chart, as you see here. Now, again, is the uptrend still intact? Yes, the uptrend is still intact because one, it's still above its middle Bollinger Band, okay? And two, the PMO is still in positive territory, and it's kind of flattening out to show that consolidation in gold, okay? But it's definitely above its averages in bull territory. Now, one thing to keep in mind, we spotted this play back in December and called it. We bought 139 calls on gold for like 10 cents at that time because the volatility was so low and it was trending down, and then they had that breakout, and those 10-cent call options ran up to $6. Okay, so big break. Okay, now we cashed out early because we didn't think gold was gonna do that big of a move, but what we see here is the same setup. All right, low volatility back then. PMO started to trend up, get a breakout to the upside. RSI holding above its averages. Shande holding above its averages. All right, same thing here. You look at gold, hit that middle Bollinger Band, tested it twice, and now it's broken back above. It's in between those two Bollinger Bands, the one standard and the two standard, and it looks like gold wants to begin another uptrend. As you can see here, low volatility, high volatility breakout, low volatility to show the consolidation cycle, and now you're probably going to get another high volatility breakout to the upside. So what we want to see is we want to see gold hold above 148.36. If it does pull back for another consolidation period, that it holds above that middle Bollinger Band and sitting at 147.30. As long as it holds above those two averages, then gold look like it is going to break out to the upside. As you can see here, the bands are beginning to constrict. Again, if a stock is in a strong uptrend, it will hold above the 50 RSI, okay? Hence, gold, strong uptrend here, started, broke above that 50 RSI, and it held above it as the uptrend continued, all right? When the stock is in a strong downtrend, it will stay below the 50 RSI. As you can see here, downtrend below the 50 RSI, two breaks above it, nothing serious, still below the 50 RSI. All right, strong uptrend, breaking out, still above the 50 RSI, and now starting to trend back up. So gold look like it's going to make another breakout to the upside on the weekly. It is already set up for a uptrend on the weekly chart. Okay, so even though the markets are doing good overall, you still got the coronavirus mess going on. So I believe a lot of investors are hedging and positioning themselves in gold just to be on the safe side if the markets do decide to pull back and or go into a downtrend for some odd reason, because a lot of major stocks are overextended. You still got the coronavirus news going on. It's not going away, and no one has came up with a solution to this problem yet. And week after week is getting worse and worse. So a lot of investors are positioning themselves in gold, as you can see here, and I don't think anyone's paying attention to it. So I would keep an eye on gold and get ready to play some calls on gold. What we got next? Tesla and Roku. Tesla weekly strong uptrend, daily strong uptrend. We've been talking about Tesla for a while. As you can see, it's been consolidating here on the daily between that 730 range up to $800. Okay, 730 support, $800 resistance. All right, on a 2-hour chart, strong uptrend. Remember, as long as it holds above that middle Bollinger Band, then it's in a strong uptrend. Middle Bollinger Band run up, run up, run up, run up, running back up. Again, it felt that middle Bollinger Band. That's when we called the 727 puts on the pullback. It pulled back to 735. When it did that, immediate buy-in came into play, and they ran it back up to that 800 area. And as you can see here, Tesla is holding above that top 1 standard deviation Bollinger Band, and is within those 2 top bands to show that it wants to go back into an uptrend. So again, low volatility, high volatility breakout. Price action is consolidating. And as you see, the Bollinger Band width is coming back to an all-time low, which is showing that another breakout is possibly around the corner. We zoom into the 30-minute chart because we can't really tell which direction Tesla is going to go as far as the 2-hour chart. We go to the 30-minute chart. As you can see here, big run up as it pulled back. Had that 735 pullback here. Immediately, the buying came back into play. And as you can see here, it's still sideways consolidating. Now, one thing to keep in mind. Excuse me. One thing to keep in mind is the PMO is still in positive territory, sitting at 1, way above 0. And as it's consolidating, its averages are beginning to pull back down. So once the PMO crosses above its averages on the 30-minute chart and it's still holding above its middle Bollinger Band, then Tesla is possibly going to go on a run. Now, even during this consolidation period, it's been creating higher lows, 687, 735. And this might be a low it's creating right here, lower one sitting at 780 to 800, and then it's going to go back into another uptrend. So keeping Tesla on watch. Had that very bullish run, and I think the bulls aren't going to let this one go. They're either going to take this and they're going to run it back up to that 900 range. I honestly think they're going to try to push Tesla to 1,000 before they finally give up on it. That's my call, and I'm sticking with it. All right, I'm not saying it's going to run up to 1,000 this week, but I do think the bulls want to attempt to push Tesla up to 1,000 before it finally sells off, and then it pulls back and start making sense, okay? So we'll keep an eye on Tesla. Current support sitting right here at 780 to 765. So if it dips back down into that area, then that's a good time to buy some call options and possibly position yourself. Now, Tesla needs to hold above that 770, which is the 2-hour chart's middle Bollinger Band. If it dips below 770, then that 745 needs to catch it, which is the 1 standard deviation lower Bollinger Band. If it breaks below that, then the downtrend is going to start. And then, of course, Tesla is going to run back down to 576. I don't want to see that happen. Nobody wants to see it happen. Everybody wants to run back to the upside so they can make some profit. So keep an eye on those 2 support levels. All right, 770, 745. 2 key support levels Tesla needs to hold. Okay. Moving on in Roku. All right, take a Roku. We've been talking about this one for quite some time. We was talking about Roku back in the Discord. Let me see if I can find it. Well, anyway, I'm not gonna go back and find when we start talking about Roku. But one thing I wanted to point out about Roku, and it kind of played into what I was looking at, because when Roku went on that big run, I wasn't a believer of that breakout, quite honestly. So when it did that, my biggest thing was I said that Roku on watch, a break below 139 will cause a retest of 130 as support, and a breakout above 142 will start the uptrend on the daily. All right. It did break below that 139, and what we was looking for was a retest of that 130 support. If that 130 support would have failed, then that would have given me fair warning that Roku, the bulls aren't coming in large numbers to buy this and push it back up. What's beautiful about Roku is it did pull back to that 130, as you can see here on the daily, and then there was some immediate buying. Okay. Now, you do get this long red candlestick down to the downside, but you get this high volume spike right here. Now, when you see a high volume spike like that, that's something called capitulation. All right. What capitulation means, long story short, is surrender, right? So pretty much what this looks like is Roku looked like it was going into a downtrend. a lot of bears were positioning themselves to go short in Roku and ride it down. Roku earnings report came out, and then it immediately gapped up like this and had that strong run up. When it had that strong run up like that, a lot of bears probably got scared and they started selling their shares to cover and get out of Roku. We're gonna zoom in on the 2-hour chart so we can see this in a little bit more detail. Matter of fact, let's go to the 30-minute chart. So Roku, typical run up right here. Big gap up right here to 151. Bears is getting nervous. Everyone starts selling their shares to cover. Large selling volume pushes Roku all the way back down to that 130 area, which we want to see hold as support. And then as it pushed back down into that area, some immediate buying came in. Okay. So what normally happens when you see large sell-offs like this and that high volume spike, I mean, everyone who wanted to get out of that stock got out of that stock. Hence the reason you have that large volume spike like that. Okay. Now, what's good about that is, well, what's bad one is if you got caught in that sell-off, then you're probably sending a red in your account. Okay. What's good about that for me and others who sitting on the sideline watching this is when everyone sells their shares to get out of Roku because of that spike up it did and it scared them, that leaves no one else to sell Roku and take it further down. All right. So once that happens, everyone who sells and get out, that's normally when the bulls come in and they start accumulating all those shares from all the weak hands who are trying to get out of it. Once the bulls accumulate all those weak shares and solidify that position, which is at the 130 support, the key level we was waiting on, then that's when you would see Roku begin to run back up and start its bull run. Okay. So hence right here, high spike, sell off, big sell off, hence that large spike in volume. The last 2 hours of the day, you immediately see the bulls come in and start buying shares in high numbers, hence the high volume spike from the bulls coming in, buying the shares, accumulating all the weak hands. All right, now that's a good sign. Now, am I saying that Roku is ready to go on this crazy bull run right now? No, but the Roku setup reminds me of Ticker Beyond, right? I'm gonna pull up Ticker BYND on this 2-hour chart, and we was watching it. You see this downward trend struggling to break above its daily middle Bollinger Band, constantly struggling. Ticker BYND did the same thing. Downward trend, constantly struggling, big breakout. You get the immediate sell-off from everybody trying to get out that was riding this thing short. And once everyone sells out, the bulls come in and immediately buy the shares and start running it back up. All right, so it looks almost like the same setup. And it looks like we're in the beginning stages of that setup. Constant rejection, big breakout, and then you get an immediate sell-off of everyone trying to get out of this stock and cover their shares. And now the bulls are coming in and they're accumulating and they're solidifying their position. So is Roku gonna go on a big run? Not quite as yet. Not quite yet. Okay. Roku still needs to consolidate, and that 130 area needs to hold. Now let's zoom in on a fine line detail. This is the 5-minute chart. You can see here the big sell-off, and then immediately when it hit that 127 to 130 area, the price action broke back above that 1 standard deviation Bollinger Band and held above it. That shows you that accumulation is coming into play and the bulls are buying. Okay. As long as it continues to move sideways and accumulate with the PMO starting to shift back up, then that shows that the overall trend and momentum is shifting back into the bulls' favor. But right now that 130 looks like a strong line of support right where it's holding. Okay. So again, if it gets above 133 and hold and consolidate, that's good because that correlates to that 1 standard deviation Bollinger Band on the 30-minute chart, which means it needs to get back above that to get out of that downtrend on the 30-minute chart. Once it gets back above that 133, if it gets above 138, all right, then that correlates to the 2-hour chart top 1 standard deviation Bollinger Band where it can start consolidating to try to make a run up. All right, now for everyone who wants to try to position themselves early, 130 looks like a strong line of support to me. Not gonna say that for anybody else because I don't want no one else to buy based off what I'm telling you. Okay, 130 looks like a strong area of support. I would just keep an eye on that area. Okay, now if for some reason ROKU fails this 130 area and starts trending back down and breaks below 127, if it breaks below 127, then I'm going to say ROKU is probably about to go into a strong downtrend, which I highly doubt is going to do that. All right. I highly doubt it's going to go into a strong downtrend. All right. So what we want to see from ROKU is to consolidate in that 130 range, break above 133, which is a key level of resistance right now. Once it breaks above that 133, then we know the downtrend is completely over and is holding in a solidified spot. Once it consolidates in that 133, it should make a push to 138. If it breaks above 138 and hold, then that sets up the 30-minute chart and the 2-hour chart to try to hold above his middle Bollinger Band and start making a run back to the upside. All right, so that's what I'm watching for ticker ROKU. All right, I'm not going to position myself too early. I do want to see this 130 solidified by the bulls for another couple of candlesticks as far as the 2-hour chart go. The PMO did break out nice and solidly. We want to see that hold above the 0 line, and we want to make sure that the bulls can hold 130 before we start positioning ourselves. But again, that's what we need to see from ticker ROKU before we can get a breakout on the daily. Again, 2 resistance areas based off the weekly, 132.45, which kind of correlates to the 133, and then that 149.66, we'll just say 150 flat on the weekly chart that ROKU needs to get above to get an uptrend going on the weekly chart. All right, but again, if you position yourself just right in 130 holds, you can run it from 130 up to 150 and get about a 20-point spread on your options. All right, that's it, man. TTMTrades. If you want a more in-depth analysis, join the Discord, shoot me a message. 83 members strong. We going for 300 this year, and I'm still doing a small account challenge where we taking $590 and we turning it to $100,000 by the end of the year. And I'm posting all my plays in my small account challenge chat room. Everything open, everything free, nothing to hide. I'm not charging anybody anything. Like I told one of my other members, I don't need the money. I can make my own money. Okay, it's all about building a community of traders and us making money together, because you may see something I don't see, and if you got a good eye because of what you learned from me and you can point that out and we can make money together, then that's better than anything. All right, so again, TTMTrades, join that Discord chat room, and I'm out. Peace.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.